Hey, this is Ben Fraser. I'm the founder of Ready.Set.Van. We're an independent van conversion company based right here in Trent, New Jersey. And behind me, I have this sweet Sprinter 144 with one of our Basecamper builds in it that I'm really excited to share. The Basecamper was our original layout from the very first van that I built when I launched the company about 5 years ago. And we now build it on the Sprinter, and we also build it on the transit platform. We'll be doing one of those later this year, so that's something to look forward to. The Basecamper layout is this nice big kind of open design, open plan layout that I absolutely love. It's what my current van is, and I think it's, I don't know, I really like it. It's especially nice on the 144, I have to say. I've been driving a lot of 170s around, so that's sort of the full-size Sprinter, and been driving those off-road, back in the woods, having a lot of fun with them. But I took this one out, and I have to say, like, man, 144 is really nice. It's just nimble. It turns, a much narrower turning radius, and it's just great back in the woods and stuff like that as well. So they're both awesome. I think the 144 with the Basecamper is a particularly nice combo. There's a lot to talk about here, so let's get started. So as usual, I'd like to start by kind of talking about our client's use case because I think it's helpful to understand the choices that they've made here. In addition to making a beautiful home and trying to make that as customized as possible, we also want to make sure that the vehicle is fit for purpose. Not spend lots of money on things where they don't need it, and then spend money on things where it matters. And I think this van is a kind of a good example of someone who's trying to make smart choices with their budget, trying to get the things they need, but not load this thing up with tons of knickknacks and stuff. So her main purpose for this van is to use it as a ski vehicle in the winter. One of the nice things about a lot of the ski resorts is that, you can park and sleep in your vehicle at the base of the mountain. Not all ski resorts, but many of them. Like I know around us, like Killington in Vermont is a place you can do that. Like that's an incredible way to ski because, you can just take this, you're parked, your home is literally in the parking lot. You are closer than some like really expensive ski on, ski off condo you might have rented or something like that. So we actually had another client who was used his van for a very similar purpose, also a 144 Sprinter. And he would actually leave it out in Park City, Utah, and just leave it parked there, come back, run his business over here, and he would fly out several times throughout the winter whenever he had time and go and literally use this, as his condo at the base of the mountain. Pretty nice setup. So I think this is gonna work out great in that regard. It is an all-wheel drive Sprinter, of course. That's gonna help because obviously she wants to be able to get there in any kind of conditions. We did throw a set of KO2 tires on here with some Arsenal wheels. Those KO2 tires, I have to say, they are snow rated, and I've had a lot of experience on my van driving those tires in the snow, and they've really impressed me. They're fantastic. So I think capability-wise, this is gonna get her everywhere she needs to go. It's gonna be perfect in that regard. So she chose to go with like a fairly minimal lighting package, and I think that's perfect. The lighting stuff can get really expensive, and this is like a nice setup. And so this is basically, we got a set of triple R's here tucked into the grill. We've done this a handful of times now, and I really like the way it looks because it looks OEM, like it looks like you got this from the factory this way. So it's just less, I don't know, I like that. I like that look. It's just very clean. They are incredibly bright. I think these will work out great for her, especially if she's in some marginal weather conditions. That'll be good too. Let's walk around the side and I'll show you some stuff over there. So let's talk about some things on the side of the van here. We've got this set of scene lights on the passenger side. She actually chose not to get scene lights on the driver's side, which normally I wouldn't recommend. I personally think it's really nice to have scene lights all the way around if you're gonna do them. Just because, if you're parking in a campground or you're boondocking or just trying to tuck into, a spot in the woods or something, it's nice to be able to turn on some lights, get more awareness of what you have around you. It's very easy to miss a stump or a little sapling or something that could kind of ruin your day. So, but I think she mostly wants to use these just for hanging out when she's hanging out next to the van. It's going to work out great for that. And so I think this was a good choice for her, I guess is what I'm saying. She does have two more lights in the back of the rack, so that is going to give her more light when she's backing up. It's also going to give her some light when she's loading and unloading her gear in the back. And so So yeah, I think that's good. Up top, we've got an Orion roof rack. She's got some walkable solar up there. I think it's 175 watts. Of course, her air conditioning's up there. The max fan's up there. We do have a ladder on the driver's side to get up there, so that'll be handy for her. And then we did put some Blink security cameras. We switched to Blink from another company, and so far, it seems pretty good. If you're somebody who's watching this and you've tried other security cameras on your van and you have some suggestions, I would love to hear them. This has been good, but there might be something better out there that I'm not aware of. So I would appreciate any feedback. Right here, we've got a Sierra Lawrence window. We put this in pretty much every van we build. We just like them because they look OEM. They just look sharp. They're reasonably functional. This panel opens up. They don't provide a huge amount of airflow. That's the one downside. The windows that do provide a lot of airflow, in my opinion, just don't look that great. And ultimately aesthetics do matter. So, so this is a window that we typically put in most of the time. Speaking of aesthetics, I love the color of this van. I actually went to go just try and find out what color this was so I could tell you, and I actually don't know. We have a relationship with a really great Sprinter Mercedes dealer. They keep a whole bunch of vans on kind of circulation for us. They just kind of keep coming in, and we give them a bunch of paint codes of the colors that are the sort of most popular with their clients. This is one of them. I just love it. It's got like metallic in it. I don't know. It's great. If you want to know what color this is, just drop a comment. I promise I'll look it up and I'll put it in there for you. The last thing I want to talk about on the side here is this flare. So this is the first time that we've ever used flares from SCA. This is a new offering and we absolutely love it. We've installed tons of flares from FlareSpace, which are perfectly good, serviceable flares. The nice thing about these is they are, number one, they're just really, really well made. Just the quality is just top notch. But then they are also insulated. I'll show you here. I actually asked them to send me a sample so I can kind of show you in this video. But basically, what it looks to me is this looks like an expanded Polyiso type foam. About an inch thick with fiberglass reinforced like a FRP type surface on the outside, along with like what appears to be like just a really nice gloss coat on it. And hang on a second. Okay, so Trenton on the weekends gets really loud. It's one of the wonderful things about being here. Not necessarily great when you're trying to shoot a video. We got a lot of vans out here though. All right, hopefully I'll be able to do this again in a few minutes. Anyway, I just thought I'd share some of the local flavor around here. Not exactly sure where I left off, but basically it's a Polyiso or similar kind of foam insulation in the flare, and it's just really, really well made. And yeah, I don't know, we're thrilled with it. The one downside with these so far is that there aren't tons of window options yet because it is a new offering. So it can be somewhat limited, so we can't install it in every single van. But we could do it in this one, and so we're pretty excited about that. Also, on the subject of insulation, I thought I'd share a little bit about Thinsulate. So the whole rest of the van gets insulated by Thinsulate, and this is our favorite choice for insulation. There are a lot of choices, and I could do a whole video on all the different choices, the pros and cons. And if that's something that's interesting to you, just drop a comment, and I'll make a note and try and do that. But so this is Thinsulate. It's a spun polypropylene. So I don't know if you've ever had like a polypropylene base layer for like hiking and stuff. If you've had that, you know how warm it can be. Thinsulate's also like the material that goes in like gloves and jackets and stuff. Anyway, it's a great insulating material. It's got tons of great properties. I'm not going to go all into it right now. This Thinsulate is about an R5 per layer of this. This is, I'm guessing, is about an R6 if it's Polyiso. And when we put this in the vans, basically we try and put every single cavity. We're just trying to cram it in everywhere, get as many layers as we can in there. So typically we're looking at like one layer of Thinsulate up to about 3 layers of Thinsulate. And so you're looking at about an R5 to R15. This is going to be about an R6 on the flare. The one thing I'll say is that people often think about insulation in general as like a thing that you need in the winter. and you do. But it's also really, really helpful to have in the summer. And I think particularly the flare will have a lot of benefits in the summer because in the winter, you've got your heater running in the van, air is circulating, and the heat is, at least in our vans, the way we set it up, is relatively even. But in the summer, you don't have as much air moving around. And what can happen in the morning is you wake up, you're sleeping, you've had a wonderful night, maybe you want to sleep a little more, and the sun comes up, and the sun hits the side of your van here and just starts heating it up. It's a combination of the radiation and the conduction of that heat from the body panels through the van that you really want to try and prevent as much as possible. If you don't have an insulated flare, that flare is going to heat up pretty quickly. It's going to be right by your head, and you might get out of bed a little earlier than you wanted to. This isn't going to fix that problem. It's just going to maybe buy you a little bit more time. So anyway, that's a little bit about insulation. If you want to know more, just let me know. All right, let's see the stuff on the back of this van. Okay, so we have a couple things on the back here that we've actually never done before here. So one of them is this Aluminess rear door unit. And this is actually two different things. This is the kind of frame that you buy, and then there's also these plates that you buy separately. So it's two different products combined into one. It's pretty nice. It's nice that you got a nice handhold here, so you can get through to your handle. You just have a lot of options here. These are real easy to L-track mounts for just about anything, so you could stick anything on here. I think this client is going to be putting, she's going to try and find it like a vertical ski case that she's going to put on the back here. But I think her plan is to figure out a way to vertically mount her skis on the back here and stow them. So this is pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing back from her how this goes over time. I think it's a bit cheaper than the Owl offerings, but not a lot cheaper. But one of the things about this unit that's different than the Owl option is we don't have to replace the hinges. So for all of the Owl rear door components, we end up changing out the factory hinges with hinges that have restricted movement in them. Aluminess, instead, the way they do that, instead of changing out the hinges, they put in a strap in here. So as you open up the door, the strap catches it. Obviously, the objective of that is to make sure that this thing doesn't swing all the way around and smash the side of your van. So it's just a different way of doing it. I think it is a little more cost effective. And so, yeah, I don't know, worth exploring. Aluminess has a bunch of products right now that I'm pretty interested in. One of them is this like bike elevator system that they've come up with, where there's basically, bike racks that are up here. They're on a parallelogram design. So it's up here, and then the whole thing pivots down, the bikes stay level, and they kind of come down out here. Anyway, I think we have a client that we're going to be doing that for in the near future, so hopefully I'll be able to tour that product for you. But it's a pretty interesting solution because you can get bikes of any weight, you can get them stored up high, out of the way. That seems pretty good. So, but this is good. Right next to me here, this is an Agile off-road tire carrier. What's nice about this setup is, number one, it's considerably cheaper. And when I say considerably cheaper, I'm comparing it to the Owl offering. So, with Owl, you can either get the rear door tire carrier by itself or the tire carrier with the ladder. The tire carrier with the ladder is really nice. If you need that ladder component, it's really, really nice. It's really expensive. By the time you get you get the hinges, and you haven't paid for install, you're still at like $2,500, and then you got to pay for install. So those, that's a lot of money. I think the retail on this was more like $1,100 or maybe $1,200. So if you don't need that ladder component, this is actually really, really nice. I really like it. Super strong design. You get this little Agile off-road logo in the middle there, which is kind of cool. But anyway, so this is new. I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes, but I think this will make it into our rotation of products for people who, as a solution for people who want to move their spare to the back door, but that's really all they're looking to do, and they're not trying to have a ladder and all that other stuff. So anyway, I think this is pretty good. All right, let's head around and head inside. So I forgot to mention that this van has one of my favorite combination of features, which is the electric door slide plus the electric power step. So I'm going to open that up real quick. And you can see this little step popped out here. which is really nice because it kind of comes down right to the spot where you want it. You know, the Sprinter is quite high. Like the inside of the Sprinter comes up to about here on me. So it's really nice to have a step, and it's nice to have a step that comes out right to the height where you want it. I really like it. It's nice also then it completely disappears. So if you do take this off-road, or you do take this in a situation where, I don't know, you get a little closer to something than you wanted to, it's tucked up out of the way and it's protected. So I don't know, that's a pretty nice thing. In general, you know, the Basecamper build is one of my favorite layouts. I just love that it's big and open. I love that, you know, without the kitchen being here, you just have a nice sight lines into the van. And you also have nice sight lines out of the van. This bench seat here that we'll take a look at more in a second is just one of my favorite places to hang out. And it is really nice that it's just like, you're just right here in the slider. Like I'll sit here sometimes with my van open, and it's great. This also makes a nice spot for just like putting drinks and things like that. It kind of works as a table as well, so that's good. All right, let's head inside. All right, so welcome inside the Basecamper. I just want to talk about the layout first because it's different than, you know, a lot of other vans that have full-time showers installed. The layouts there's a lot of overlap between them. This layout is very different. The kitchen's on this side. Obviously, we have the bench seat on this side, and it's just an open plan. It's just, I don't know. It's the way I love homes. Like I love them to just be big and open with shared spaces where the kitchen kind of, you know, connects into the living room, which kind of connects into everything else. And I really like that about this plan, where everything kind of shares the same space. One of the things, of course, with this is like we have this big long section of overheads on the driver's side, which is really nice. It's just a lot of storage up here, which is really useful, but also just the sight lines of this I absolutely love. It's just uninterrupted. It's a single line that goes all the way down. Same thing on this side of the van. We just have a single line that goes all the way down. It's uninterrupted. What's nice about this also is not having anything on this side. It's easy to sit up in bed here too, which of course is great. So my van is this layout on a ProMaster, and I love it. I love sitting on this bench seat. I love sitting here. I like being, you know, making food in the kitchen here works out great. I don't know. I really like the whole layout. It just feels very open. I guess I'll hit these overheads first. You know, lots of overhead storage. You know, in my van, you know, I have clothes from here down to the back. And then I have kitchen things basically up in the front here. Works out really well. You know, and I like that. Of course, we have lights under the overhead here, built into the overhead for over the kitchen. All the lights in the van are on a dimmer, as always with all of our vans. We've got a little galley window here, which is really handy. The other nice thing about the galley window is you can use this little shelf here and kind of put objects there. So I do that in my van quite a bit. Sometimes I leave glasses there. I also have some like fake plants there, which seems silly to have fake plants. But I gotta say they kind of cheer me up. So they chose to go with an all walnut interior, which is, you know, absolutely gorgeous. I love it. And we have this beautiful countertop, nice big sink here. We have a single induction cooktop over there. We can do a single, we can do a double, we can do no cooktop and just have it be portable. So it's really kind of, you know, everyone's preference there. One of the nice things about this particular version of the Basecamper is we get this really sweet pantry that I really love. I think it's attractive and functional, which is nice. Of course, we have our CRX-80 fridge there. There's a little hidden storage thing under the fridge too, which is kind of neat. This seat right here, I absolutely love sitting in this seat, popping this table out, setting up my laptop and working. And one of the reasons I love this seat in my van is because it's pointed right at the slider. So whether my door's open or not, you know, I have the window there. Of course, with this build, you know, they went with a walnut here, so we have this walnut table as well. Whenever possible, we really try and incorporate, you know, really nice wood finishes in places that you're gonna come in contact with frequently, because I just find wood to be ultimately just like a very grounding and satisfying material. This table is really beautiful. It's very carefully handcrafted. Takes a lot of work, and it, you know, really can only be done by a handful of our best people. You know, one of the things about this seat here, you'll notice is if I sit all the way back, this TV's kind of like hitting me in the back of my head, which isn't necessarily the best. This TV, I'm not going to do it right now, but this TV articulates around. It's on one of those moving mounts, so it's easy to swing this around to the bed area, and then that no longer becomes an issue. You know, having a TV in your van is like intensely personal decision. Personally, I prefer not having a TV in my van because it's such a large object. I don't find TVs to be particularly attractive, so I'd rather not have them. For me in my van, I use my laptop. If I needed a second screen, I'd have done this sometimes to stream to an iPad or whatever, you not stream to an iPad, but I would have a shared screen on an iPad, and I feel like that's I don't know. For me, that's what I prefer. But I totally understand. There are a lot of people who are you're going to be working out of their vans. They need a second screen, and you know, using an iPad as a second screen maybe isn't sufficient. So anyway, that's a personal choice. But this issue of this hitting you in the head, we can just swing it out of the way, and doesn't do that anymore. Right below me here, there's pass-through access into the garage. I'll show you the garage in a minute. On this side of the bench seat, we've got our cassette toilet, and then that's nestled into a pop-up shower setup as well. So basically, we have a custom-made stainless steel shower pan that we sink down into there. We have hot and cold water there and hookups, so we can put up a temporary shower curtain right here, take a hot shower in here, pack it all away, and put it away, which is pretty nice. And then the front compartment here is open for storage. You know, this seat here, you know, you can sit here opposite this person and, you know, eat dinner and have a nice time. My favorite thing about this seat is to just flip this around and to sit this way. And I spend a lot of time, I use my van actually, this is my daily driver, I use it all the time. And I probably spend at least an hour a day in my van, sitting right here, you know, it's a ProMaster, so it's slightly different, but I sit here with my laptop. I use my van quite often as an office. It's just a quiet place I can go to think. And I'll sit right here, and it's absolutely delightful. What is even better is if I can do that and go to a nice place and, you know, have the slider door open. What's also really nice sometimes is to sit here with the slider door open. I'll put my awning out a little bit if it's like a rainy day, and I just absolutely love that. What's nice about this van and this layout is that there's a lot of different seating choices. So what you can't see right now is the camera's sitting in the passenger seat, which is spun around. So like that's one place you know, people can sit. You know, obviously you can sit in the driver's seat, and that'll spin around. You can sit here, you can sit here, you can sit up in bed. A lot of options. So if, you know, if it is a rainy day and you're just like, I'm stuck inside my van, you can kind of still move around and kind of change up your scenery and stuff. So let's go check out the bed area. Okay, so here we are in the bed area of the Basecamper. To get into bed, you just put a foot on one of these bench seats right here and just pop up into bed. It's super easy. The dimensions of this are about 52 or 53 inches in this direction and about 72 or 73 in this direction. You know, we bump these out a little bit. Obviously, this is where the flares are on either side. What's nice is then we also upholster these, and we put some foam padding behind it because, you know, your feet are going to be in contact with this periodically. Obviously, then your head and your hands will be in contact at this end, and it's just nice to have an upholstered, soft thing there. So that's always a nice thing. Of course, we also do lights under here. So actually, it's one of my favorite things in my van is these head and footboard lights. And so at night, I'll turn off these overheads. These overheads are great because they're super bright, and you need to do task lighting or whatever, you just want to see what you're doing. They're fantastic. But at night, I'll often put this on super dim. Sometimes I'll put the kitchen lights over here also on dim. Makes a really nice vibe. Even if you're sitting here at the table, it's just like, it's just nice to have a soft indirect light at a low intensity at night. But obviously these are on dimmers. You get into bed, you have these here. You have all your controls here for everything right next to bed, which is like such a nice thing. I very much appreciate this. And my Basecamper is just being able to reach over. I can change the heat. I can change, you know, any of the things, any of our systems stuff is all here in the Victron Turbo system. And then, you know, below here we have the dimmers, we have charging ports and all kinds of stuff like that. So, so everything is kind of thoughtfully designed so that those functional aspects are, are close at hand. The mattress itself is an 8-inch foam mattress, super comfortable. Some of our clients will give us their own mattress and we'll stick that in. I don't really know if there's any difference. Above me, is our air conditioning unit. So this is a 9,500 BTU unit made by Hofton. It's been awesome. It being 9,500 BTUs, it will put out just an absolute ton of cold when you want it. We can also install like the, like a DC air conditioner as well. This is an AC based air conditioner. But it's user preference. Above here, we've got our max fan, of course. So this comes with a remote control, which is great. And in my van, I keep it up here because, it's nice to be able to just, do that. But actually in bed, I actually prefer just reaching up and hitting the buttons on here. And it's also nice to, have that fan right here to just to create some airflow, right over you while you're sleeping, especially in the summer months. So all in all, I have to say, in my Basecamper, which I use all the time, I love sleeping in it. It's very common for almost all of our clients when they come back from one of their first few trips, they just say how well they sleep in the van. This is a very common thing that we hear. I don't know if that's a thing about van life. I don't know if that's a thing just about getting outside of your normal routine or whatever, but it's certainly true for me. If you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. All right, let's check out the garage. So here we are at the garage. And of course, the garage is like where you're going to put all your stuff. That might be bikes, it could be extra clothes, it could be all kinds of things. The Basecamper garage on a ProMaster is about 59 inches deep, 5'9" inches deep. On the Sprinter, it's a bit shorter. I think it's about 54, roughly. So it's a little bit shorter. If you have a full-size mountain bike and you want to put it in a 144 Basecamper, you can do it, but it's a little tricky. The garage is designed to take bikes very well. In fact, this space on either side of these utility cabs is designed to take the handlebars specifically. These days, I think most of our clients who are bringing bikes are tending to bring like foldable e-bikes quite a lot, which sounds like a great idea. On the driver's side, we've got our whole electrical cabinet. That's got our 3,000 watt Victron inverter. I think in this van, I think we've got 400 amp hours on board. All of our components are Victron. Everything is just like dead reliable. There's really nothing to really think about in here too much. And it's pretty rare that we have any service issues that come up. If we do have a service issue that comes up and we need to get somebody to take a look at anything that's in the electrical cab, it's very easy for us to talk to anybody who might be doing that work if it's not us. Our utility specialist who prefabricates all of our electrical cabs does an absolutely meticulous job, and he labels everything. And so it's really, really obvious to anybody who would end up working on that, if it's not us. On this side, we've got our plumbing cab with about 30 gallons of water on board. We've got an electric hot water heater here. Obviously, we've got a shower off the back, as all of our vans do. There's a shower mixer over here too, so you can take a hot shower outside, you can take a hot shower inside, whatever you want to do. It's all right here. It's all super simple. I have to say, like, this is kind of our goal of all of our systems design, is to make it incredibly robust, make it simple and reliable. And over-engineer it so that issues don't really arise very often, and that's kind of how it's been. Filling up the water is really a piece of cake. We have a garden hose. You click it on there, it fills up. Once water starts splashing out under the van, it's full. You just disconnect it. What's nice about that system is that click connect that goes on there is a drip-proof connection, so there will be no drips or no water or anything inside. And then when it comes to winterize, there's a single switch that you flip, and then all of the systems will drain out via gravity, which is great. Yeah, that mostly wraps this up. I want to hit around the side here, and I want to show you something a little different over here. So right over here, my buddy Andrew down the street. If you ever come visit us, you should come check out his place. This is a shameless plug. This just happens to be in our garage right now. He makes these gorgeous Land Rovers that he converts to electric. He originally started doing them Tesla conversions, and now he uses a different battery system. But but totally cool. His name is, it's Whidam Engineering. Check it out. Again, shameless plug, but his work is really excellent. And yeah, anyway, I don't know. There's a yellow thing in the in the garage here. I thought I'd talk about it. I appreciate you being here. I hope this was informative in some way and interesting in some way. But in general, my goal here is whether or not you're going to be a customer of Ready.Set.Van, hopefully I can tell you some things that I know that might be helpful to you. So I hope that was the case. And I hope that whatever you got going on in your life, I hope it's going your way. And as always, thanks again. Peace.